So, welcome back. This is episode 6 of TNA Talks. I am very happy to welcome our board member and a friend of Nordic Advocates, is Hazel Moore, who is chair of the organisation First Capital, based in London. Welcome, Hazel.
Thank you very much, Barry. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thanks ever so much for your time. It's great to talk to you. So let's dive straight into it, Hazel. So tell us a bit about First Capital and your role there.
So I'm one of the founders of First Capital, which is a investment bank based in London with offices in Silicon Valley. And we set up the business just over 20 years ago now to focus on helping growth stage technology businesses in Europe with strategically important transactions. So the driving force behind what we do is to help entrepreneurs be more successful. Whether that is accessing resources to help them grow and internationalize, and that would be helping raising capital from venture capital or private equity funds, either in Europe or in the US. It is also helping companies and shareholders who want to move on to that next stage of their journey and be acquired by a larger international organization to go global. So we do M&A and exits as well for companies.
Okay, interesting. So, what kind of just sort of value or stage would a company be to come, to come and work with you, or for you to choose to work with a company?
Yeah, so we're typically working with growth stage companies. So if they're looking to raise capital, they already have product in market.
Hmm.
They're probably approaching $10 million in revenues,
Okay.
growing nicely, may not be profitable, proven product in market, and are really looking for 15, $20 million plus to kind of drive further acceleration.
Yeah.
If it's an M&A transaction, then it would be a company that is typically valued between, say, 30 and $300 million. So
Yeah.
we're very much still focused on founder-led, entrepreneurial,
Hmm.
venture capital, private equity-backed businesses.
Yeah. Okay. And for obviously this show is going out to sort of the Nordic market. How would you help a Nordic tech company? I mean, I guess it's no different to any other uh, country-based organization, but what kind of things would you do for like a Nordic company? Have you been approached by a Nordic company before?
Yeah, so just to give you an example, earlier this year we sold a company called First Agenda, which is a Danish-based SaaS business
Okay.
focused on really the future of work. So they provide meeting productivity tools to help set agendas beforehand, manage document flows, make the meeting itself more productive, follow up actions to participants in the meeting, etc., and really kind of streamlining and making that whole process more digital and more effective. And we sold that company on behalf of its shareholders to Visma.
Okay,
Um,
right. Very famous.
that would be one example. I mean, in other one of the things I love about the Nordic region is that the companies and the entrepreneurs are really international from day one.
Mm,
And that's so important in a technology perspective because technology is clearly a global market.
yeah.
So with our office in Silicon Valley, we're dealing a lot with the global tech buyers and with companies in North America. And what they're really looking for when they make acquisitions is technology that can scale across markets. And
Right.
so from a Nordic perspective, that's something that you typically see at a very early stage,
Mm,
um, because you're expanding out of what are relatively small in the grand scheme of things
mm,
domestic markets. So I
yeah.
think that's something that's really positive about the Nordic businesses that's very attractive to global buyers.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. There's definitely a mindset of testing, in the Nordics and then expanding quickly to to the UK and the US. So yeah, I understand what you mean. So I mean, with regards to the UK, what kind of UK investors um are you working with? Like, what kind of investment could people get, or buyers of their company? How's the market looking in the UK?
So there's a lot of money in the UK, and there is a whole spectrum of investors. From the sort of the individuals and the seed funds, through to very large private equity funds and corporate investors. So I think there's a massive spectrum of opportunity for Nordic companies seeking to raise money in the UK. Typically, the there is a sort of a set of UK investors that will clearly focus on investing in the UK market. So it does make sense to properly research who you approach, because you could spend a lot of time and just be talking to people that frankly aren't going to look at the Nordic markets.
Yeah.
But a lot of the pan-European funds, a lot of the mid-market private equity funds as acquirers and partners of businesses are very interested in the Nordic markets. So I think there's a huge spectrum. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. And what about this year with the whole COVID crisis? Has that affected the capital markets in the UK?
So it has. There was particularly an impact in the second quarter,
Yeah.
when, along with the rest of the world, I think everybody kind of initially went internal to look at their own portfolios and to kind of triage what might be required in terms of emergency support.
Yeah.
But we came out of that phase actually relatively quickly. And one of the things that's been interesting is that investors, I think, have adapted very quickly to doing a lot more of their due diligence over tools like this, over Zoom, remotely.
Yeah. Okay.
And getting comfortable with that. So the markets have actually, as we now approach the end of 2020, from an investment perspective, being quite firm. And I think we'll probably end up this year, at least at a level that we were last year. There's certainly a lot of money, a lot of dry powder. What we've seen practically on the ground is that certainly the companies that are kind of net beneficiaries, if I can really use that, of the COVID crisis, have been actually very much sought after. Prices are as high or higher than they were last year, and you can see on the Nasdaq and the US markets just how much technology has been. Technology is a solution to many of the problems that have emerged, and there are clearly sectors where digitalization and digital transformation has been enormously accelerated in terms of adoption as a result of COVID. So there's a little bit of a bifurcation in the market. There are some sectors, B2B software, digital health, digital education, things like that are very strong, and clearly sectors that have been significantly impacted, like, for example, travel.
Yeah, for sure. And entertainment and things like that. Yeah, absolutely. So, final question now, some really good insights. So thank you for those. How do you, looking in your crystal ball, how do you see 2021 panning out?
So I'm quite bullish, actually. I think now that we have a vaccine on the horizon, and in fact several vaccine candidates that look like they are very effective.
I think the first one administered this morning, wasn't it? I think as we speak.
Today in the UK, so that's very exciting. There is a path through, I think, to some sort of a return to normality. I don't quite know what that will look like, but I think by the end of the first quarter, we should have things should have stabilized somewhat. So I think there's a lot of pent-up demand, actually, from a lot of consumers. So you'll probably see, I read a stat the other day that said actually, I can't remember what the number is, but some huge proportion of people are planning the holiday of a lifetime in
Hmm.
2021 because they've missed out in 2020. So you could
Yeah.
see sectors like travel really bounce back quite
Yeah, I think
strongly.
so. I think people are, yeah, chomping at the bit, as they say, aren't they? I think, and
I think so, and there's people haven't been able to spend much money in
no,
lockdown, so
that's absolutely true. Yeah.
there's some pent-up demand there.
Mm.
And some of the things that I talked about in terms of digital transformation, I think will accelerate. People's habits have changed,
Hmm.
and so I'm pretty optimistic about technology and
Hmm.
the technology sector in general. I think there's pent-up demand. There's clearly money.
Mm.
There's some stability in the US now that the election is over.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
True.
I'm hopeful that it will be a good year.
So you're putting on the record that you think investors are going to go on a spending spree. Is that what you're saying?
I think they will continue to invest in good, strong growth propositions.
Brilliant. That's the perfect way to wrap this up. Thank you ever so much. That's some great insights there. Thank you for taking part in TNA Talks, and we'll look forward to catching up with you again next year then, and hearing the insights for 2021 and going into 2022.
Thanks very much, Barry.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye.